Hi, I'm Susan Regan, and I work a lot, mostly exclusively with couples. I'm really in the business of trying to help couples find a way back to each other or admit that they can't do that and find a way that they can unravel their lives together, especially if they've been together for decades. And so people often wonder and also often tell me, I've been to many therapists, it just doesn't work, and we aren't going to find our way back. We've been stuck. We've been in places where we have such a polarity, we have such a different way of seeing things, and we can't get rid of or beyond our past fights. And so I just want to walk you into what it's like to come and work with me. I'm not a miracle worker. I'm not going to be the cure-all and the end-all to your couple work, but I want to take the blame out of being in a relationship that is unhappy, that you're blaming each person. What I want you to look at is the pattern that you're stuck in. And it could be based on lots of things. But some of it is just being able to think about ways that you can start going with the concept of repair. Repair is like one of the most important things, but it still doesn't solve everything because there is a certain way that we show up in relationships that we could actually just look at the other person and get upset. So there's tips that I teach my clients. They come into my virtual room and I start working with what shows up. I also meet them separately because I really want to hear what the baggage is of their family patterns and the relationships that they've been in their past and what was modeled to them to understand where they're coming from and what things mean to them. It's true. We feel so misunderstood in our most important relationships, labeled, seen, and that we're having that same fight over and over again without solving it. So I really like to break that down. And so if you're working with me, I'm going to keep asking you to take a look at your nervous system, to really think about the language that you're talking in, and to think about, are you really translating I messages to your partner? And are you actually thinking about them and where they're coming from and empathizing with how they see things? I'm going to be asking the same of them, is for them to empathize with how you see things. But in this repair model, what we look at is to think about the ways that you've caused harm to the other person, but allow them to speak about how you've hurt them without disagreeing, without getting defensive about it. That is a huge skill, and it's also very difficult to do. So I inch through that and really ask people to get really good at listening and pausing and reflecting that another person in the relationship, not you, has a whole different idea and experience of what's going on. And if you can find one bit of what they're saying to you that you can hear and that you can be accountable for and say back to them, there's the opening. It's not the solution, it's the opening. So yes, I get it. I didn't understand what I was walking into at the end of the day and how hard of a day you had. The other part is that there needs to be new agreements, and these agreements need to be kept. Like, for example, like I'm going to check in with you before I come home to see what kind of day you've had. So maybe I can ease into your space or bring something to help you, like food. And then from further on, so it's like being accountable for some part of their hurt, making new agreements, sticking with that plan. And it might go even further than that because these might be reoccurring patterns that have been so hurtful. And this fight has been the same over and over again. But when you come and work with me, I give you and teach you all different kinds of techniques. Sometimes I can't break that reoccurring chronic conflict that you've been in. And so I use other techniques like EMDR, like brain spotting. I do some ketamine therapy with people, and I do it in different ways so that there's more of a psycholytic short term version. And it just starts helping people reframe their experience and come with more personal responsibility about how some of the ethos of their relationship has been about their creation or their perception of things. So I'm really trying to expand people's mindsets here so that we can look at these patterns differently, more symbolically about what they represent, and then just go into concrete, how are we going to solve it in day-to-day life? I also want to make sure that I am respectful of you and your time, and that we really look at what kind of relationship you want to have, what kinds of things do you want to solve. If you feel like you're at the end of your rope and you can't do this work anymore with this person, that we also talk about that if that presents itself. So I'm a very active, directive therapist with a lot of experience. I've been working with couples for over 2 decades. And if you feel like it could help you, please be in touch, but also watch my videos, my 5 series videos about couple relationships and conflict and healing, and see if you can resonate with any of it and if you can use some of those tools immediately. I hope that you'll find some great insights for you and your partner.